Liam, how would you describe the way everyone's feeling after the other night?
And it was tough, but look, it's in the past now, and we've sort of moved on. We have an important game coming up on the weekend, and we know that if we get results in the rest of our games in the Champions League, we have a chance of qualifying. So it really doesn't. It was a tough one to take, but it doesn't sort of. We don't dwell on it, We've moved on from that now.
In a practical sense, what does that look like? Is there one debrief and then everyone decides that that's where it's parked, or do you almost just carry on?
But
like
we just do what we usually do. We have our meetings, we have our analysis. Nothing changes, it doesn't change when we win big. It doesn't change when we lose. So we just do what we do and move on. And we're always focused on the next game more so than the previous one. So
how much of a challenge is that when the next game comes up, but then that's a different type of challenge from the one you face in Europe, and you almost don't know until a couple of weeks down the line, if you can make those improvements in Europe?
That's a bit of a complicated question. I don't really. We just focus on the next game, and that's that. I suppose there's no real we're not looking forward to the next game in Europe now. When that comes, we'll do our best to get a result there.
Personally, what did you learn from being exposed to that level of opposition?
I feel like I've been exposed to that level before. It just was one of those nights where almost every time we made a mistake, we were punished, and everything they hit went in. It was a tough night, but I've been exposed to that level before. It's a step up, obviously, from what we play domestically. No disrespect to anyone, but it's difficult, and we need to be on top of our game to get results at that level, and we weren't.
Is that the challenge then laid in front of you? Is that you can go from, no disrespect, a really good win against St Johnstone, but that's not going to be enough to bridge the gap to the teams above in the Champions League? Is that what the challenge is, the fact that you're not facing that high quality every single week?
Yeah, it's probably a factor, but we have quality. And we played better against St Johnstone than we did against Dortmund, and that was the difference. Obviously, I'm not saying if we played better we would have won the game. We were far from it, but it's just about doing it as well as we can, and obviously maybe just being a little bit more secure at times and not as open. I think they tactically played well, and obviously the level of players they have, how ruthless they were. It was a tough night all in, but I don't think that is going to define us, that result. As in, don't think we're that far off the level. That was a one-off bad result, and that happens.
When it comes to previous domestic results have obviously been really good. Does that make it easier to just kind of park that going into this weekend, because you know what you're capable of, when it comes to playing against Scottish sides? Yeah,
but personally, for me, I'm okay now. Obviously, you have the day after the game. You sort of, it's not nice, but we've started the season so well in the league. We're unbeaten. We're doing everything right domestically. So it's sort of easy to just park what happened the other night and move on to this game, because obviously I want to keeping clean sheets, being part of a defence that keeps clean sheets, and keep winning games, and just sort of let's see how long we can go on this run for.
How important is it to not let that result sort of affect your confidence levels when it comes to European games? Because after the Slovan Bratislava game, I'm sure confidence would have been high that you could have done something in the Champions League this season. Does that affect at all confidence levels, the result, the performance the other night?
No, not really. I think we're confident in our abilities regardless of what the previous result is. We know we've played together enough. We know we train together every day. We know what our ability is and how high it can be when we're on it. So I think it's more of a fact. Confidence doesn't really come into it. It's more of a fact of getting to the levels where we need to be.
Is that analysis of the other night really help you? Because obviously I imagine there's a lot of practical things that you can put into practice next game that you can fix things like that. Is that maybe tough to watch, but is it really kind of helpful in the process of seeing where things can be improved?
Yeah, we get clips from every single game, whether we win, lose, or draw, where things might not be perfect on a sort of a coaching level, and the coaches go through that with us to improve. That happens every week though. That's sort of in the schedule for us every week, that we get these clips, we watch games back, and we sort of see where we can improve. And obviously there will be parts in that game where we can look at improving on and taking into the next games in the Champions League.
You mentioned the clean sheets, the record. Is that great to have as a defender, to have that some kind of target to aim for, something to keep going, something to focus on when you're out there on the pitch as well?
Yeah, definitely. It's what we know, if we can have a good foundation, keep a clean sheet, like we're more than likely going to score goals, and that's going to win us games. So with the attacking quality we have, so it gives us something else to sort of aim for, to keep going on this run and go as long as we can, really.